Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Debriefing. I'm your host, Lucky Fox Zero, and as always, I've got No Green Knights.
Hello.
And Radiant Arkwolf.
What up, briefcakes?
And on this episode of Debriefing, we'll be doing episode 3, chapter 1 of Halo 4 Spartan Ops. And today's topic is the concept of the Storm Covenant. So if you could lead off our discussion, Radiant, we'll get this show on the road.
Okay. As the resident elite of the group, I really want to like the Storm Covenant because I think they have a whole lot of potential as another force in the Haloverse and a development within the more traditionalist vein of the Sangheili race. My problem with them is that it doesn't make a lot of sense as far as their backstory or their motivation. Not in the cutscenes, gameplay, either in the campaign or Spartan Ops. I don't understand what they want, why they hate humanity. Master Chief first went to sleep, he was in a peace accord with the Arbiter and the kind of bewildered, but intrigued at the same time.
I will agree with a lot of those points that you raised. They very much do not tell us all that much about the Storm Covenant, how it was formed, what it is, why they have come together. You know, they don't give us much backstory on it. Which, to a certain extent, they didn't give us that much backstory on the original Covenant for Halo 1, but you at least, knew their motivation behind trying to murder humanity. It's explained to you.
Yes, I think that their desire to humanity is explained throughout the first Halo game, through Cortana, through the Battle.net, through the cutscenes. But in this case, it isn't. It's mentioned that they seem more zealot than previous covenants. How can you tell, and why would you know that? What does that mean, and anything? They seem to wake up the Didact. His motivation is clear. He expresses himself, his desires, much more clearly than the Storm Covenant ever did. And I think that Spartan Ops, they could have explained that, but they haven't. Kind of got on side tangents, sexual at that.
Now, I know we talked about the Prometheans as an enemy, but I think we could probably all agree that we enjoy fighting the Storm Covenant more than we enjoy fighting the Prometheans.
Agreed.
Yep.
The Covenant seem far more satisfying to fight, and if I had my choice, I'd always choose the Storm.
And, definitely some of that is, we know the capabilities of the Covenant, and they are, something we've fought before and understand.
It is familiarity, I would agree. But the other part is, the Covenant isn't nearly as cheap.
Watch, he's stuck.
Than the Prometheans. At least that's my take.
Now, having said that, I miss some of the other Covenant races that don't seem to show up in the Storm. Like I liked the skirmishers. I thought the skirmishers were cool. I wish hunters showed up more. I liked fighting the brutes in Halo Reach, specifically Halo Reach. I don't know, I feel like the Storm Covenant is very, very limited.
And that's another thing that they don't explain, why this alliance alive and well between the grunts and jackals
mean, all of that feeds into, we don't get much backstory into the Storm Covenant. It is very much, they show up, they're, a familiar enemy that 343 could throw at us, and we would understand. And we don't really get any more beyond that. It's just, oh, Covenant's back. Congratulations, all of your work in Halo 1, 2, and 3 was worth nothing.
Honestly, honestly, I feel like even calling them the Covenant is a mistake. We should be calling them the Storm. They should be their own man. But I feel like they're just a awkward rehashing of the Covenant. And it just doesn't have the character and the in-depth intrigue that we got in Halo 2 with the Covenant, where Halo 2, obviously, we get really attached to the Covenant, we learn a lot more about it, and we get to see it from...
Halo 2, you get a lot more backstory into the original Covenant with the Arbiter side of the story.
Right, and we don't have any sort of setup like that to get that backstory. But I do agree that could have come through Spartan Ops, but did not. And I
feel as though I think I said this earlier, there's a lot of potential for the Storm to be a legitimate enemy.
Yeah.
They can have their own style, or I think you mentioned this earlier, kind of a ragtag, kind of rough and tumble kind of force or entity. But as it is, they're kind of uniform, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. Have requisitioned a lot of their gear.
Right, like I want to see them have to patchwork their armor together of old style Covenant and latest style Covenant and whatever they could craft on their own because they lost the engineers. I want to see some custom crafting, whatever we can hodgepodge together type of deal, and I don't get that impression. I don't see that in the art direction. I don't see that in the fact that they have like a bazillion ships. They shouldn't have a bazillion ships. No one should have a bazillion ships. The UNSC or the Storm Covenant. No one has the Didacts and the Forerunners. They can have a bazillion ships hidden somewhere because that's what they do. But no one else can have a bazillion ships. I want to feel like they're hodgepodging some stuff together and they've got it to work. They got their hodgepodge to work. They made something powerful out of hoboing it up.
I mean, you get a little bit of that scavenger mentality with them stockpiling UNSC goods, like you see in this one, but you never see them use it. You just see them stockpile it.
That's right.
Now, in other missions, we do see elites and stuff use Forerunner weapons, but we don't see them using UNSC weapons, and I would kind of like that. I think that'd be kind of neat if they use some UNSC weapons.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
And it would also make sense because, they don't really have engineers around to repair their crap anymore, and so they're very reliant on, whatever they can repair and scavenge and, build and such. Which, they, as far as being in the Covenant, it's not something they've really had to do for, thousands of years.
Yeah, they've never had to create much of anything in a long time. Besides, they've always had this byline of not being innovators, just adapters.
Yes.
And I think that they would, given this transitional period in the galactic cycle, that's exactly what they would be doing. They would be adapting. The box says hodgepodge. That's exactly what would be happening.
So, I don't know. I would really love to see sort of reappropriation of both culturally specific material and old Covenant material and UNSC material. For example, like maybe some of the Jackals can't get their normal shields, so they have to use parts of the blast shields that the UNSC deploy. Like they have a physical shield, or that an elite doesn't get a shield, but he gets a Jackal shield instead, and he has to use that in a sword or something.
Of Promethean tech, they get different different hard light shields, things like that.
Like that would be, you know,
The didact is arisen.
that would be really interesting that they have to use different things, and so they have to work differently than the way the Covenant works, and I'm just not seeing that. Again, I'm seeing them do the same things that the Covenant did.
It seems like they do just seem like a rehash of the Covenant, as opposed to like their own unique kind of
But
setup.
I think the potential is there. I think through further Spartan Ops or Halo 5 or what have you, they've set the stage for a lot of this stuff to happen, for the Storm to grow and be its own thing. And I don't believe they've missed the boat on that. I think I want them to seize that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't get, you know, all of the explanation into the Covenant until, you know, Halo 2.
Right.
In the first trilogy.
I think they have the
I
opportunity.
can totally see them. Yeah, they can totally, you know, put it together and
Explain themselves in Halo 5. But I think
pieces
that they
of
really need to
Phantom
work
saved
on.
that thing.
Yeah, I think that they really need to work on the art direction if they're gonna do that, though.
Yeah, I don't like that the elites lost their under armor and are just naked under their armor, like brutes.
Yeah.
Because they previously always had like some sort of under armor layer. They had like
Which
a
you would
suit.
think would be, which would be, you know, much more, much easier to keep than, you know, their armor and stuff, which they still have. So I definitely can't see them losing it as a result of, you know, not having, you know, engineers around or something.
We forgot how to make clothes. I don't know.
I think these Phantoms are trying
Also,
to...
as far as the art direction, this Covenant just seems more monstrous than it does anything else. Whereas before, they had a sleeker kind of look. They were obviously alien, but this time they just seem to be kind of grosser. And I don't understand that move, particularly since Halo 3 and ODST, they just didn't look the way.
I agree. I don't understand making them look grosser because that forces you to disassociate from them, which Halo 2 makes us associate with them and makes us relate to them. It like tries to push us away, and I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think I don't like the monstrous, brutish art direction, and I feel like just the elites in this game have been not represented as sleek.
It'll be interesting to see what comes next.
Yeah.
As the Storm is concerned.
They just haven't been represented as sleek, noble warriors as I have been used to them.
Yes, and I mean, they definitely have that potential. The potential is there for them to come out as, you know, this great, you know, kind of rebirth. But it's not made it there.
Yeah, it's not there yet, but it could be. And I feel like their choices have kind of shot themselves in the foot. Like, oh, we're going to destroy Requiem. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would they destroy it if they hold Forerunner artifacts so high? And if they have such few members and materiel, why would they leave their armies on Requiem to die? They need all the people they can get. They need all the material they can get. How are they able to sustain losing ship after ship after ship? That just all of that. Their just representation throughout the story is not congruent. It just does not make sense to me. Final thoughts?
I look forward to seeing the growth of the Storm in subsequent games, and hopefully in other Spartan Ops, where it is more consistent and more congruent as gameplay, enemy, and storyline.
No agree?
Pretty much the same. I'm looking forward to hopefully having them kind of fleshed out, or bringing back the kind of elites led by the Arbiter to kind of give us a more fleshed out story for the Storm Covenant. But so far, haven't done it. Kind of disappointed.
Well, that about does it for this episode. And for No Green Knights, Radiant Arkwolf, and myself, Lucky Fox Zero, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you here for next week's episode of Debriefing.